down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Is this who's this first time? Hopefully you'll come back. You might hate me after this, because this is not the best subject in the world. I did not put this subject. This is your event. I am just the mediator, stop the BS guy. Okay? So the subject is flipping houses. We're going to stay on task today. On the back of your little agenda covers all these things that I have notes on if we can't find information. Okay? Now, who's a flipper in the building? 1, 2, 3. Have you sold the property yet? 3? Okay. But you intentionally sold it for profit? Or was it like a luck? Okay. Like you bought a property and you sold it for profit. I'm a flipper. I have flipped several properties. So we got 6 of them in here. Okay. Man. Should you be a flipper? What's the goal of flipping houses?
Money.
To make money. What do you think of the TV show? I Flip Houses.
Baloney.
It's all a joke. If you really believe that stuff, it's not true. It's not that easy. It's really difficult. Before we start smashing people, who wants to be a flipper? Who wants to really flip a house for real? Okay, why?
Money, capital.
For what? What are you going to do with the money?
Sure. Leverage it into a rental or
To buy more property?
Yes.
To hold?
No.
Okay. Any other reason?
I like making something old look really beautiful again.
So it's aesthetics for you and fun for you. Okay.
I would say.
Who else?
Joy.
Enjoy. All right. What's our goal here? Why are we here?
Make money.
Right. Freedom.
Freedom.
Financially.
When you start flipping a house, does that create freedom?
No.
No. Okay. That's why I'm not a big fan of it. No disrespect if you flip houses, but to me, it's just a job. If you stop doing it, what happens? You stop getting paid. And here's the thing, my rule of thumb. By the time you leave here, I hope and pray that you will have the right mind to either you're going to do it or you don't. Because you're going to have to be pushed in either direction to do it right and do it successfully. For me, you asked me, Ben, why don't flip houses? Now, I have flipped houses not intentionally, accidentally. The market changed. Probably every time I try to flip a house to make money, I usually failed. Miserably. Like I bought that property, I bought it for $125, I can sell it for $185. I'm gonna make a killing, I'm gonna be rich. Has anybody thought that way?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
That's how I used to think, right? And I would lose money. And so now there's some good flippers in here that have made a lot of money. What's an average profit for you? When you're not today, because today the market has changed. So when you're doing this game, it changes.
I was making 20 to 30%, so anywhere from 10 to 30. My best profit was $40,000.
Okay. What's your average profit?
15 to 20.
15 to 20. Who else? You flipped a house or two, Mr. Nix?
Yeah.
What's your average profit? 50?
I mean, I won't do one unless I can make 15 on it.
Okay, so write that down. You got, first of all, if you're going to really flip houses for real today, I'm going to teach you how to do it. You got to write out what's your profit margin that you really want to make. Most people don't have a profit margin. They just watch this TV show and they think that they're going to be rich and they have no idea what they're going after. So you have to understand, you have to be a fanatical about numbers. You're going to have to love numbers and you're going to have to crunch a budget like nobody's business. The flippers that have done properties, have you sustained within budget?
Once.
Sometimes.
Close.
Once,
Sometimes?
maybe twice.
Okay, how many houses have you done, Mr. Black? 10 houses. Out of those 10 houses, how many do you think you were over budget?
4.
4. Okay. Anybody else?
I flip a lot.
Oh, you flip a lot of houses? Okay.
Well, I say half.
Again, my train of thinking is from my own experience. Just trying to do a wedding, I don't know how hard it is to stay on budget. Like I budget $3 a square foot for flooring, but sometimes I get it for $2 a square foot. Sometimes they are out of that product and I have to ship it in and it costs me $4 a square foot. So it just depends. All right. So the first thing you got to do, number one, is what? Have an idea of profit that you want to make, right? You gotta have a number. So like I look at it as a job. If I'm going to touch this property at all as a flipper, like I'm going, and my intention is, well, how long it's going to take me, and what's my profitability? What am I really going to make? Can I make 20,000? Can I make 10,000? Okay, so that's your first thing. You got to set a target. What's that number? Then you got to figure out how much to buy it for, and then you got to figure out how you're going to find it. Right? So you got to have. So what's a good number? 10,000?
To buy it for it?
No, to profit.
15.
15. So let's just all say 15,000. Okay, that sounds like a good number. How long does it usually take? No, not the guys that have done it. Someone that needs to answer this that's never done one before. How long do you think it takes to do a flip?
3 to 6 months.
3 to 6 months. That's pretty accurate. Okay, so real quick calculation. What's 15 divided by 6? $2,200 a month. There's got to be easier ways to make $2,000 a month. Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. Any questions so far? All right. Let's just go. Does anybody have any questions? So you got to have a budget. Then you got to find the deal. How do you find houses? How do you find them? Wholesales? Right? Can you find a flip on MLS?
Occasionally.
Yeah.
Not really.
I do it all the time. That's always how I use it all the time. But I
No,
have
we're
system.
talking about a flip. We're talking about pretty decent construction, just a little bit more than cosmetics. Right? You do big, massive. Do you do big, massive reflip, like redo a bathroom?
Oh yeah.
Okay. What your sizes?
Oh, I try to buy houses within the. Like something I can sell for 65, 70,000 or less.
Okay, so that's interesting. Let's talk about price point. What's the ideal price point? So you're talking about retail, 70,000?
Yeah.
When's the last time you did a flip?
I did one this last week. I mean,
For
I do
70?
all the time. I probably do a dozen a year, a lot of years, and 7 or 8, lots of years. Lots of years.
That's bizarre. Anybody want to guess what the sweet spot is? We got some realtors in the place, right? We got 1, 2.
What you retailing for after you're
Yeah, what's a good, let's just, okay, we got 15,000 we got to make. We got to find this mother, and then we got to sell this thing.
So retail somewhere in 100 and 150.
Well, okay, so that's the sweet spot, 150 and below. Why? Well, my prediction is if it's, well, anything between 125 and below, they're going to need assistance. Okay? And they're first-time buyers. And so first-time buyers are the most difficult because you have to go through what process? An FHA process. So when you're flipping a house, you got to think about, is this going to pass inspection? Because someone maybe at 150, they may just be excited. They may have a conventional loan and the restrictions are not the same. So you got to understand financing. Because who is going to buy the product from you? Is it a first-time buyer? Is it an investor? Can you flip houses to investors? Yeah, you can. Rental. Who bought that $70,000 house? Where was that? Midwest City?
I sell a lot of them for that price range.
No, I want an answer.
Where
Where was that
No, I
house?
sell them to retail customers. I don't sell them to investors.
Okay, again.
I bought it for
So
40,
who bought a
15
$70,000 house? Where? When?
I buy them in Midwest City under that all
No,
the time.
answer the question. Where did you sell the $70,000 house that you just did? Where was it? Was it
Where
Midwest
was
City?
it? Address-wise?
Location. Give me the
Midwest
ballpark.
City.
Midwest City. And it was a retail property.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What'd you buy it for?
I don't remember. 37, 38, 39.
And you put some money in it?
About 15 in it. So 45,
So-
50. Made 15.
Okay. Well, you really didn't make 15.
You know.
Why didn't he make 15? Holding costs. Closing. What's a good percentage for factoring closing?
10%.
10%. Write that down. So
I don't
if you're going to
think
buy
that-
it for 150,
But his
you're a
wife's-
realtor.
his
You're a
wife's
realtor.
broker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you-
I
okay.
pay 6% for my money.
I know, but this is not everybody's like you. So think about it. So that's the first rule of thumb. Now we're at 150. We got to make 15, and guess what happens next? We got to pay 15. So now where was the numbers now? We're down how much?
135.
30. We're down to 120. Okay, and then now what happens there? Got to figure out the repairs. So let's just keep playing here. We're at a $150,000 house. That's our end result because that's kind of the sweet spot. Anything over 150, it gets kind of confusing. Anything under 125, you're at a first-time buyer. So your sweet spot's 125 to 150. Now the climate's changing and, deals. So now we have to find it at 120 less, right? Minus what?
Holding costs, like we talked.
Yeah, you got to do holding costs. What's a good? Who does this professional all the time? Do you factor in holding costs? What percentage do you factor in?
2%.
You can sit up here, man. Right, it's okay. Huh? 2%?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do 2%. So $150,000 house. What's 2% of that? $3,000. Right? Am I right? 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's 6 months now. Now keep in mind, if you're going to do this for the very first time, here's a couple things you need to think about. One is insurance. Not all insurance companies will insure a home that you're flipping. You don't never tell them that you're flipping a house, but they don't like to insure vacant properties because obviously it's vacant when you're remodeling it. So keep in mind, if you call Shelter Insurance or State Farm or Allstate, if you call any one of those, the question the agent should ask you should be, is it vacant or is it occupied? And if it's not occupied, when is it going to be occupied? And so you need to have that answer in place. If you're flipping it, you say, hey, I need insurance while I'm fixing it up. You don't have to tell them what you're doing, but you should, or at least have a conversation with them. I would let them know what you're kind of doing so you have the proper insurance. How much more do you think insurance costs on a vacant property?
It does cost more.
It does cost more.
Yeah.
So that's another issue. I'm just trying to save you pitfalls from people getting burned by thinking they can flip houses and then they just this is pure profit now. When you're paying for insurance, it's pure bottom line profit. Okay. Any questions so far? So we got 150 minus holding or minus the cost for the
Closing and realtor fees.
realtor fees and concessions. So when you're building in your numbers, make sure that you factor in concessions. That's another pitfall that he's laughing. Has this happened to you?
Oh yeah. I always make.
I would say every deal for me.
I make money until the TRRs.
What's a TRR?
So TRR, that's at the very end when come back with after the
Repairs.
inspection, they want you to do the repairs.
Does anybody know what that is? Does not know what that is? If you need to speak up. This is not the C. VanCauwenbergh show. I just want to be clear. This is your show.
What's TRR stand for?
Treatments, replacements, and repairs.
Thank you.
Are those negotiable?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So when someone gets an inspection, if you have never done this before, someone gets an inspection, and they want these things repaired, that's what the TRR is. Okay? You can negotiate that. A lot of people don't think that you can because it's due you, but you can. All right. So that's what I mean by concessions. You're going to have to do those repairs, especially if you're trying to flip a house with an FHA loan. Those things need to be fixed. What are the no-nos? Yes, sir.
On the TRR, some time ago, the state changed the contract. So there's two negotiations. There's the upfront negotiation on the price. And before, there used to be an amount. It'd be $500 or $1,000, and you were on the hook to make repairs up to that amount. Just know now that when you accept an offer, after they do their inspections, in all likelihood, there's going to be another negotiation. They don't even put an amount in anymore. It's just, whatever they can get or whatever you can not do.
Okay. What are the things that an FHA loan will not go through? Does anybody, not the experienced people, the new people, we've got the people that have never done this before, because you got to think this way when you're going and looking at a property. Right now, what I'm trying to teach you guys is just the perspective of when I walk onto a property. These are the things that I'm thinking before we even get to the numbers. What are a no-no? What's a no-no with an FHA that will not pass FHA? Does anybody, besides the veterans here, does anybody know? Anybody want to take a gander? Take a test? Go. Yep.
Foundation problem.
Foundation is number one.
Plumbing.
Yeah, it depends. Because you could fix plumbing, but like roofs and foundation are the deal killers. So those are the two things that I look for right when I get on a property, even today when I'm buying a residential for a rental property. What are they? What are they?
Foundation.
Just, yeah. Because most buyers, they get scared. Every home in Oklahoma is shifted. Just plan on it, okay? But a first-time buyer sees a crack in a foundation or that you've put piers in there, guess what happens? They'll scare. They're gonna. Now there's a way around that, and what's a way around that? You want to take a guess how I do it? Well, I hire a foundation company, and guess what I do with the foundation company? I repair it, and in my foundation company that I use, guess what? Has a lifetime warranty, and it's transferable. Okay, that's usually how I get by flipping houses, if it's a foundation problem. Okay, so what are the two major things that you should not even go any further?
Foundations.
Or in the roof, if you got to factor in the roof for repair. Now you could slide in. I have flipped some houses. Jackie and I, we flipped a house or two where we slid the roof in, like we didn't put the roof on, but then we put the roof on. That was a concession. So if you plan that in advance, like I know that they're going to come back and negotiate with me, and we're gonna leave the roof alone, but we're going to save $8,000, $15,000 or whatever. We already get a bid. We already have the price. We know exactly what the roof's going to cost, and we factor it into our $150,000 or less price. And if we could win the lottery, if they don't catch the roof, if they catch the roof, then we'll throw a roof on there during closing, which is a risk, right? How is that a risk?
May not be able to close.
May not be able to close. Let's just get back to the TRR something. Here's another problem. Here's another pitfall in flipping houses. This is why I love this game. You get a TRR and they want this fixed, and this fixed. Who pays for that, and when is that done? You pay for that, and it has to be done before money changes hands. And what's the good thing about Oklahoma for a buyer? Can they walk away at any time? They don't have to show up to closing. Are they going to go to jail? No. And another thing about their earnest money. Let's get into this. Is not a good subject for me, y'all. You think that you can, someone can put their money down and earnest money, and you think you can get it right back? No. How do you get your earnest money back?
You don't. Or you
Well,
get to keep it.
Well, what happens is, how many parties have to sign off on your earnest money? Both people. The person that's the seller and the buyer. Well, if you just burn me, I just put on a brand new roof, do you think I'm going to sign that little piece of paper? And you really, if you wanted to get kind of gangster, you could put it on an affidavit, slap it, and cloud the title. But I just don't want to get into the gangster part too. But so think about it. But in Oklahoma, they can walk away at any time. And usually they'll cry and complain first time, and they'll usually get their earnest money back. Unless you're really specific in your contract that this is non-refundable. And has anybody dealt with that, putting in a contract and they didn't have to get a release from somebody?
No, I've done that before. Non-refundable for any reason, everybody still has to sign.
Yep.
So if I'm the seller to the buyer, they want it back, even though they signed as is for any reason.
Yep.
They still can jam you up.
Yep. And here's the thing. And if you want to understand the mechanics behind all that, does anybody know why? Besides Brian, why that's a difficulty to get the money back, your money back? Because when money goes into escrow, it goes into a whole different line of legalities. Now you're holding who responsible? The title company. And do you really think the title company is going to do you a solid? Never. They won't. Okay? So, now we're exposed.
The bad thing that happens, the title company won't close with anyone else while that's in dispute. You've got to clear that out.
Yeah, so
Which
they'll
means
come and
you're
you
gonna
can,
throw the towel
meaning you're
and say
clouding the
you're
title.
not.
What she's saying is like, say Brian and I sell him a property and he's like, I want to be released. I'm like, no, punk, you freaking didn't buy it. So I'm not going to sign off on it. Well, you can get a court order, but the reality is no one else could sell that property until we resolve that situation. So keep that in mind.
You'll probably just give it back.
So this
You didn't get very
literally
much
just
earnest money
happened to
down
me
anyway. Give it back to them,
yesterday.
Going down the next one.
Huh?
You didn't get very much down earnest money anyway. I mean, the heck, mostly.
No, I would give it back
everybody
to him.
deals
I
are
always
being
give it
bought
back to him anyway.
For
I always do.
$1,000 or something. Just give it back
I'm
to them. Go to the
saying,
next
but
one.
I'm just saying, these are the things that you need to be aware of that could go on. Here's a perfect example. So what she's saying, I had a property. This individual negotiated down. I was like, I need a net number. This is my net number. This is like a different way to negotiate. This is my number. It's net. So we redid the contract. After he did the inspection, he tried to hit me up with some more money. Well, we started at this price, $10,000 less. We're not moving anymore, buddy. But then he still issued that. Now, at the same time, I have another buyer trying to buy my property but I can't do anything because I'm in contract with that person. Now here's the deal. When I told that guy, nope, sorry buddy, that's not going to happen because you manipulated me on the front end. And that should be a podcast. The dude jacked me up on the front end because it got me from this number to this number and then try to get me on even more at the end. It's just a bad technique, okay? Now, I already went low enough. Let's just give you some fake numbers. I had it listed for 65. I really want to be at 60. But I told this dude, because he kind of negotiated on the front end, I was like, and I did this technique, I was like, yo, let's just base it all on an appraisal. Before we start getting all crazy about negotiating, let's just throw what the house is really worth before we start getting all crazy. So he would never show me the appraisal. That should be sign number one. Well, it's okay. But listen, he kept beating me up, and I was like, all right, listen, I want to dump this property anyway. I don't got time for all this jazz. I'm just going to tell you my net price. This is what I want to net, 55. Like, that means my realtor gets paid. That means everything gets paid. But I want to walk away with a $55,000 check. We clear. Yep, we're clear. Sign off on another contract, okay? Then he does an inspection and tries to hit me up for 2 G's on the back end. I was like, buddy, no, sorry, But during that process, we were taking backup bids on this property. But see, I'm jammed up because I'm in contract with this guy. And so that's where the earnest money kind of comes into effect, because I need to be released of the contract. And so make sure you understand all this. This could jam up your holding costs. If the guy was a nice guy, right, he could just delay that whole process. This is like the same thing about getting in a contract with a realtor on a listing agreement. For example, just so we're clear, a real estate contract in the state of Oklahoma from a realtor contract, the 30-page contract, is pretty ironclad. It's called exclusive agreement. So if you're buying a property or you're selling a property, okay, let me give you an example as a flipper. You're selling a property now. Okay, how many questions before I go on to this next point? No questions? We're selling a property now. Okay, you got it all dolled up. We're ready to roll. And I sign it with John here. And I signed a 6-month exclusive with this guy, right? He says he's going to do an open house. He says he's going to put it on Craigslist, put it on Zillow, does all what he says he's going to do, okay? Come to find out, he doesn't do what he says he's going to do. What happens now? Can I fire him? Can't fire him. Nope. Guess what happens? 6 months of the property sitting there for holding costs. So be clear when you're budgeting your holding costs and make sure you're dealing with a realtor. And I'm very clear with the realtors I work with. I do day-by-day listing. That's possible. Does anybody know about a day-by-day listing? Have you ever heard of that? Well, write that down, because it's possible. All my listings are day-by-day listings. I'll even do a day-by-day listing, and I'll do a flat fee with them in there, so they're guaranteed. Mr. Realtor, I'm at what's the 3%? I'll say, hey, I'll do a contract with my realtor. I love my realtor. I'll listen, I'm clear because I have a network of people that want to buy houses, right? But I still want to pay him for his labor, so we'll put in a fee that he's comfortable with, and then we'll do a day-by-day listing so I can just pull it at any time that I need to necessarily pull it out, or I don't want to jam him up, right? Like this situation, the dude's jerking me around. Well, man, I felt bad. My realtor's been dealing with this dude for a while, and we've been, we're all almost near closing, and now the guy's trying to hit me up with another $2,000 up the way out. I'm not desperate, homie. So let's just be clear. But it was cool because as soon as I got released, 5 minutes later, I had it under contract, sold for for 50, just like that. Okay.
Generally, with that realtor deal that you had, if you go to the broker, if the broker's got any,
I did on a deal.
On the realtor,
I did, even if I have a super attorney.
Then I would
even get super attorney does not matter.
Oh, you may be stuck. But what I'm saying is 90% of the realtor brokers out there would not.
Listen, I wrote this in my book real clearly. I called the dude up. I even knew this guy personally. He would not release me out of the contract. And he didn't do what he said. I had emails and everything. Hey, he's going to have an open house. Never had an open house. I was like, hey, can you post it on Craigslist? Didn't post it. This is a long time ago. Didn't post it on Craigslist. I called the broker. I'll take care of it. 6 months later, he took care of it all right. But I'm just saying, just as a flipper, I hope this will never happen to you. But if you want to be savvy, you need to know the reason why I'm even successful is because I failed too many times. Because I just believe in it. And where I went wrong is I was emotional because the dude got me this house, and I was like, since you got me this house, I'll do you a solid, and I'll give you this house. Well, come to find out, he may be good at buying houses, but he's horrible at selling houses.
Amen. They're
Okay.
always that way, one or the other.
Yeah, whatever. But I'm just saying, do your due diligence. As much as you're doing due diligence, the whole deal can hinge on your realtor. No one cares that I have sacrificed and got bank loans and I've auctioned everything and I do the house and I got stabbed by my worker. Right? I mean, I just had another problem with an electrician the other day. Please ask me who that person is, and I'll tell you who they are at the end of the thing. So, because this will be my first time in my entire life, I'm like, no, don't call that dude right now. Don't call that guy.
Okay, I have a question. What do you mean by day-by-day listing? If the realtor will do day-by-day listing, they will have a more commission. What is their realtor commission?
The day-by-day listing is I can cancel at any time.
But what is the commission? Same 6% or?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, 6%. Sure, I want to pay people for their service. I don't want to nickel and dime them, but we agreed. I also give them a flat fee too, $1,500. And if I pull the listing and I give this someone and I sell it to Matt, a good friend of mine, we're talking. I was like, yeah, I'm trying to dump this property, and I'm willing to go. I'm willing to kind of lose the 3% or something. I'll give my realtor $1,500 for his time and effort. He'll release me from that contract, and then I'll just create my own contract and sell it to my friend Matt. If you're working with a good realtor, most realtors won't think that way. Okay, most realtors are trained totally different. They're all about themselves. No offense, no disrespect. And I understand they got to make money, right? And they have a lot of expenses. They pay did you know that it costs $2,000 a year for a realtor just to have a license? Is that right? More than that? Probably. Do you have a license? How do you know that? It's $75 just for MLS. Just have MLS access. So you got to be sensitive to realtors. If you're an investor, you've got to be real sensitive to them that they make money by as many transactions as possible. Just like an attorney, their time is valuable, right? You don't want to be calling up, and you got to have respect for people. So if you come across like I do, hey, it's your job, my job. I got to make money. You got to make money. I'm an investor. You're a realtor. Let's work together. But don't call a realtor up, have them open up 10 freaking doors, and do a bunch of CMAs for you, and then you call on a sign and buy that property. Like, that just doesn't make sense. That just hurts the whole system. Okay? Now, do I need a realtor? No. Do I choose to use a realtor? On occasion, depends on what property I'm selling. If I know it's a Brian Nix, and Brian Nix buys specifically in this neighborhood, did we have a realtor? Now, Brian is a realtor. He could have jammed me up, or he could have said, "Can I get my 3%?" He could have, but he knew the value of the property. All right, we're on a wrong tangent. Where are we now? Is that where we're at?
That holding cost, was that 2% a month or 2%
overall?
Over 6 months.
Overall.
Okay.
And you can kind of factor that in with that 10%. It may squeak in there, but again, you can get it under contract. And here's the thing. This is what I learned from a really good realtor. His name, well, I don't say his name. So I learned this thing one time. I was flipping a house in Mustang. I thought I was a home run. Got it. I was at the $115,000 price point. It's no brainer. I think I picked this thing up for $70,000. I think I put like $10,000 or $15,000 in it. It's a long time ago. And first of all, I got it under contract. It was a FHA thing, no big deal. Then when she gave me the offer, I put the contingency in for closing. That's a typical thing. You're going to be paying their closing. So get ready to pay someone's closing. So I really wanted $110,000, but I priced it at $115,000. Why? To pay for their closing. Okay, and factored in all that jazz. So I already knew that I'd be willing to pay about $3,000, $4,000 in closing. Now, the girl comes in, FHA, first time buyer. Can you pay my closing? Sure, I'll pay the closing. No problem. I'm making money here, right? Making 20-something thousand. No problem. Well, then about 6 days into the deal, she switches it to conventional. Pretty savvy. Like, she went from a first-time buyer to conventional loan. Wow. It gets even more real squirrely. Like, wow, that's pretty. Then Third time, switch it again. Now she's cash. How can we go from there to there to there? Okay? Now, like, now I'm at 105 on this situation. This is why I don't like flipping houses. Remember, I bought this thing for like 70, I put like 10 or 15 in
You
it.
didn't put in a set amount that you'd pay for closing costs?
I did on the very first time.
Okay, well, that's all you should have ever paid. You
I
should have said
understand.
3,500 or whatever, and there you are.
Yeah, all right, Coach. So,
It's
okay,
going
you
back to
broke my
real
train of
estate.
thought, man. Don't throw my game off. So, man, where are we?
105.
Cash.
Cash,
105.
Switch to cash.
Yeah, man. I don't know, Pat.
Wait, 115.
Well, there's a point I was getting to.
Now you're at 105.
SHA
cost
to
to
conventional to cash
And now you're at 105.
to something.
I don't know. I'll get back to it. I forgot. There was a point that I was getting to. All right, let's go through any other questions. So you understand, you got to factor in all this stuff. The money, what it's going to cost you, the holding costs. I'm trying to remember what I was going to get to the point. We'll get to it at the end. There's a reason why. Then it became cash. Then it became as is, and then she was asking me for a bunch of stuff. It just became here's the whole point. Okay, it became a negotiation nightmare, and I'm dealing with their realtor saying something to my realtor. My realtor was kind of a rookie at this time, back and forth. Well, just as Pat says, I have that same tenacity. I was like, that's it. That's the number. Okay, I factored in. Well, then she threatened to walk away.
Let her go.
Oh, okay, Tiger.
Okay. Really
Now,
fascinating.
here's the thing that this great realtor brought to my attention. If you let that shit go, guess what happens? You got to start the whole thing all over again. And guess what's going to happen again when you're at 115 price point?
You're not going to get this woman.
Well,
again.
what's going to happen? Another 30 days.
Yeah.
Another level of concessions. You see? So I just sold it to her for whatever. So that's something that you got to think about too. You may get it under contract, but it really may not get under contract, and it may not pass inspection. Her boyfriend or her husband sneezes and he doesn't like the blinds. Things could happen in the process, so you have to factor in failure rate.
You might get sued because the realtor brings you a ready, willing, and able buyer, and you screw it up because
Please, let's not get into the legal
they say,
shit.
hey, I earned my fee. I need my 3%.
Man, let's just say this one. This is why, and you're going to leave here, guys, never going to flip another house again. It's sad. I'm like, this is what you wanted to have. Just want to be clear. This is last month. I was like, what y'all want to talk about? Let me give you another thing. Could this happen? You close a property. They did their inspections. Sewer line gets clogged up, and you get sued. And you have to pay for that. Could that happen? Yes. It happens. And you pay. That's another risk. So there goes your $15,000 profit. On a how much is a new sewer line? $5,000. It's happened more than once. Has anybody ever heard that experience?
Yep. Discover black mold or whatever.
Yeah, black mold. Or I know a builder that the HVAC guy. Now I would use their errors and omissions on a contractor. So that's why you need to vet out your contractor. But installed the new heat and air system. The condensing line, condensing line it wasn't sealed, just a little seal, a little purple rubber deal, whatever, and it leaked into the ductwork. With the temperature change, there was mold. Lawsuit. They got all their money back. Okay, so go ahead. You go be a flipper. Good luck. I'm all about as is, whereas, F you, see you later. As is.
So even after the closing, you can be sued?
You can be sued anytime, any place, anywhere, for any reason, at any time. And guess how much it costs to sue somebody? $66. Has it gone up? How much is it now? 67?
Depends on what cause of action. But
Under 4,000, 5,000.
Yeah.
$120?
Couple $100 to file.
Couple $100 to file. It's real easy to go sue somebody. Right? Just plan on being sued. Oh, sorry, didn't say that. All right. So you gotta have $15,000 profit, because why we're doing it? Remember, we're making $2,000 a month to be cool and be on TV. We gotta pay the realtor another what? 10%, because they're great people. And then we got to pay the contractors. We haven't even talked about contractors. Do we have enough time to kill people from here on in? Seriously, they're great people too. So let me get this straight. The realtor makes money. Oklahoma County Tax makes their tax money. The insurance guy gets paid. The realtor gets paid. Both realtors get paid. Everybody's happy. Who took all the risk?
You did.
Yeah. So you want to flip houses? You guys want to stop right here? Or you want me to keep rolling? Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I'm serious. Like, I want you to be wealthy. And I mean, I know somebody that's done 6,000 flips. I mean, he's got a whole legal team. Like, I mean, you can be successful. Here's the thing I want you to get done. I wish someone would tell me that when I started. Like, I wish that I made the carnal decision when I bought this property, and all my flips would never have gone well. Only time I've ever made money is by accident. I know that sounds sexy. I don't know what that sounds like. It sounds like Idiotville to me. But like, I bought this 3,000 square foot property in Forest Park. Man, I'm killing it. I'm gonna be rich. So I thought I was somebody. This is before all the TV shows come out. So I don't remodel the kitchen. I do everything else. And then I showed it to two realtors. You got to do the kitchen. That's like 15 G's. Got to do the kitchen. What's the two areas you should do in a house? Yeah, pretty simple. Well, I thought I knew what I was doing. No big deal. I'll do that. Then guess how much it cost to carpet a 3,000 square foot property? It was like $5,000, and that was a deal. I mean, just these are the things. You got to be a master at budgeting. You got to be a master, and you got to know your numbers. This game is all built on people think it's finding the house or think on sending the house. Where is the money being made? The general contractor. That's the guy you want to be. If you want to do it, you want to be the general contractor. That's where money is exchanged hands quickly in the best way, and it's clean. So learn, if you really want to flip houses, I think you can do it. Master about getting people to get stuff done at a great price with guarantees and warranties. So the heat and air people that I use, there's a warranty. And can I pass that warranty on? So have safety nets. And any other questions so far before we go into our little list on the back of your agenda? Anything else? I know you have a comment. Please.
Did you say something about 10% on the brokerage, real estate brokerage fee? Did I understand that right?
No, 10% of like holding cost,
okay.
fee, realtor fee, all the little fees that you're going to have. So closing cost, just add another 10%. So that's just quick. So if you're going to make $15,000, you got to be at probably at $150,000 house. Let's finish the math. So where should you buy that house at? $150,000 house. I just gave you some numbers. Everybody follow me, right? 15 profit, 15 for the acquisition. Okay.
How much you need to put into it?
And then, that's the next one. But just guessing right now, what should be the percentage you should buy the house for? Just to see if anybody can guess. 50%. Let's just get to the point. Yeah. You're gonna have to find. So that's a cardinal sin right there. You got to find $150,000 house for how much? 75 or less. Good luck.
And it depends on how big the scope of the job is. I passed on one this week at like 30% because it was that bad.
Well, I mean, I was going to do a $400,000 house not too long ago, but it was like $160,000 in repairs. Were you at the house with me? Yeah, you were there with me. I was like, and they were selling it for $160,000, and it could have been worth $400,000 to $4 something. But there was too many major mechanical things that could go wrong, meaning the ceilings were so low and the AC was busted underneath. Yeah. So we had to put AC in, and it was so big. I mean, it was a 5,000 square foot house, or like 4,500 square foot house. I mean, I was going to take that deal down, and when it was listed at 160, so it was worth going to look at it at 160 with a potential for $400,000 profit. Okay, that's worth me to drive over there, right? So it's under 50%. The neighborhood kind of supported it. The neighborhood that touched it did. Now, I've been burned before where the neighborhood on the other side is trying to comp on this side. Okay, there's some issues there. But it was big enough. It had a pool. One problem. Okay, now, so it was all glamorous. Now, I put an offer in at $125. Now, why would I? Now, what was my goal? How much did I wanted to make? After we ran the numbers forwards and backwards, I would be happy with making $25,000 cash, wouldn't you? So I put a $125,000 offer in, so I can flip it for $150 to some great person in this room that wants to be on a TV show. And you for sure will be on a TV show on this one. Deal with the pool, deal with the AC. I mean,
Well,
it was
you
massive.
Big houses like that. The first thing you're going to deal with is a buyer who's really sophisticated and has a lot of ass kicking ability, and that's not the buyer. The buyer that I make money on is a buyer who's not very sophisticated and is going to let me drive the damn bus. And when he won't let me drive the bus, I'm all through talking to him. And that guy is never buying a $400,000.
You mean by leading the transaction?
You bet.
Okay.
If he won't let me control the transaction, we're done up front. I'll give you money back, shake you in the hand, wish you the best.
So you're not using a realtor at all?
Oh yeah, but I have a realtor I've negotiated things with. I pay 4.5%, 3% to the other selling broker, and 1.5% to my realtor.
Wow, you're gracious and giving.
Hey, I gave her a lot of business.
I just want to smash you. Let's just keep going. You got to bless people, man. Come on. Any other questions? Should you pay your realtor? Yes. I'm just teasing you, Pat. Because you sleep with your realtor.
Well, I will. I've been with
I know.
her 20 years.
Fringe benefits of knowing the right people. All right. Any other questions? So everybody understands. So you have to get it. So here's your basics. You got to get it for 50, no more than 60%. And you got to factor in the profit. And don't try to be greedy. That's where you'll fail in this situation. Okay? And you got to have holding costs. And right now the market's changed. You were flipping houses really quickly, doing very well, doing 10, right? You were doing one every other month?
No, in the past 10 years I've done 10.
Oh, okay.
Just-
Well, anyway, you've done like 3 or 4 in a year,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay. So, and then all of a sudden the market changed. Just like that, like overnight. Just because Donald Trump said something, things could change quickly. So you got to factor that into. Okay? Any other questions on there? So 50, 60%, and then we could spend all day on construction. What I've learned is just try to find the best person possible. Is that it? Any other questions back there, Mr. Long?
I mean, my only thought is we've talked a lot about all the horrible things about it. Who in here could just testify? What are the pros? Like, who's passionate about it and how does it work?
You guys can can go to AA after this.
Just 3 minutes on this is why you should.
Okay, that's be good.
I've
Passionate.
done well with it over the years. No, I don't
I'm
do
passionate
well.
about wholesaling.
Yeah.
No, well, but I do all right on rehabs, but now I do a lot of my rehabs a lot differently than the way he does them. But one thing, I don't pay the 4.5% real estate commission, and I do my own looking at the houses, and I know a lot about the construction, and I've always been my own general contractor, and I raise my mortgage money at 6%. So I've got some corners off of what he's telling you guys, and it makes me money. Now, I don't buy houses over $100,000 ever to flip. And the reason I don't is because when they get up there in those better houses, they got better credit, they can buy new, they can negotiate better deals, they won't let me drive the bus. And as soon as they don't let me drive the bus, we're all done talking.
Okay, so
But
this
you can make
is
money.
that's a good question. So, what's the positives of it? Quick cash, right? You can get easy.
Quick is relative.
Oh, not quick. Okay, you can pretty much get no money down deal. That's a positive, right? I mean, if you're pretty coherent on what you're doing, you can get private money. Master private money, hard money people or hard money really quickly. Because anybody that's going to loan money, it's worth $150. You're only asking me for $60, or maybe some of the fix up if you put $25,000 in it. So money on a flip is really not too difficult. Would you agree or disagree with that?
And for me,
It's not too hard to find flip money. It's sexy.
you don't have anybody calling you in the middle of the night because their plumbing leaks.
Okay. So what? This is killing the group. So
I hate really.
what else is good? Nothing's good about it. I ruined everyone.
The paydays are big.
Paydays are big. You get big giant taxes. I mean,
Checks.
checks. I'm trying to be positive here.
It could
We
be-
haven't even talked about taxes.
It could be fun in the beginning, seeing a turd turned into
Yeah,
something nice.
that's you.
That's
but
art.
That you kind of
Yeah, you put your name on there.
a little bit after
You'd
a
be a
few.
starving person.
Then it's,
And you're a musician, you know this game.
I do.
Both sitting next to two musicians.
Now, there are some other exit strategies that are more complicated that you didn't get into, and I know everybody.
All right, what else is positive about this
All
fun
Okay,
thing?
positive.
You're helping the community.
You're helping the community. You're making money move.
You're helping the community.
It's velocity of money. Everybody benefits because of you. Everybody. Everybody. Everybody.
I pay everybody.
Everybody gets paid. Everybody gets paid.
I got my
Everybody gets paid. What a great job. Let's go to work at a church. No offense. All right, so I love Jesus. Come on. All right, next. Are we done? I can't think of one other positive thing, Mr. Long. That's such a great question.
How about you
trying
can
to keep the conversations.
Yeah.
you
But
buy,
hey.
you buy another rental property with some profit at the end of the day.
Yeah, after the tax burden. What's the tax burden?
You said
On a flip, on a pure
Depends on-
profit flip.
15.3% subject to self-employment tax.
It's not 33 as an earned income? So it's 15 because you have an LLC you bought it in?
Well, just because the IRS looks at flips as any other, like you're selling a product, it's not like an asset.
Okay.
So then it would be subject.
15 point something percent.
Now,
right?
sometimes you can buy one in good enough shape, you can rent it for 12 months, and then you can flip it after that.
Yeah, and I would
pay
do an
long-term
interest only
capital
loan
gains.
if it was
You
me.
can do that, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I would. If I was going to do the dream world, I would buy it, fix it up, hold it on an interest only loan for 12 months, get all that rent, and then sell the bad boy.
Yeah, and then you pay long-term capital gains.
All right.
and it'll be tore up.
Yeah.
Well, that's always a risk. But
And that
you're
property
a
that I
flipper, you
was
can
telling you
fix it.
about
He'll
that I
enjoy
bought,
that.
I still have that as a rental. So, all right, don't try to do something big. Number one, pretty common. Okay, so start small. Number two, work with the right construction crew. You've got to, and if you're going to do a flip for the very first time, I definitely recommend maybe partnering with someone you're really good at finding the deal, and someone's really good at managing construction. So you have to raise money, manage construction, hire the right people. What's your main strength? Budgeting and finding people, which are the hardest thing. I work with a lot of investors, and they say they can never hire the right people. You would talk to a business owner, that's their biggest problem. I can't find people. I can't find good employees. This whole thing is driven by that. All right. So you got to like triple check your repairs, and I always add another 20% on that. So if I add up all my repairs, and I'm like $5,000 for heat and air, $3,000 for carpet. Okay, I'm in it for $15,000 is my total cost. I would add another 20% on that. Okay, just for safety reasons. You just finished the house. How much did you go over budget? And how many guys did you go through?
I went through 4 guys and with specialists, and then
Four like GC two GCs.
One GC. I had to
GC
basically
yourself?
make myself the GC after that, and 2 electricians. That was it.
Yeah, electrician. I got a problem. I know.
Yeah, and now I went over $3,000.
$3,000 out of overall budget. What was your total budget? $10,000.
Yeah, well, I was budgeting 12, and then
So
ended
it
up
cost you 15. So what's that percentage? What's 3,000 on? So that's like 30%. No, 20%.
24% or something. 23%.
Okay. So I just use 20. That's just a rule of thumb. Okay, number 4 says figure out your max purchase price using ARV. Does everybody know what ARV is? After repair value. That's what the appraisal is going to come in. And we can have a whole class on appraisals. So there's a drive-by appraisal. There's a visit inside appraisal. There's a rental appraisal. Okay, make sure you're getting the right appraisal done, and then you work your numbers back from there. Number 5, don't forget to factor in the holding cost. I think we beat that up enough, right? 6, get the necessary real estate courses. Getting educated. Does anybody have a course they've been to that they could recommend? There's a girl down in Florida. Everybody knows her? Robin Martin. Robin Thompson. Sorry. She has a great course. If you haven't taken her course, you can buy it online, or she speaks all the time. She has a great way how to get. She gets deals. Her letters. I've read her letters to acquire properties. is really interesting. I'm testing some of those in Ohio right now. It's fascinating what response that we're getting. But she's a hard nose, good general contractor.
She shares with me more than most people do. That's what I like about her. And she's honest, upfront, totally honest.
All right, number 7. You got a real estate network in here. Most of these guys up here have flipped houses. They would love to help you if you need to work a GC or JV, joint venture. But get with groups. There's a group we meet here at the third Wednesday of every month. There's REIA groups that meet first of the month. Get with people, and Facebook is extremely powerful. I mean, get involved. There's got to be flipping wholesaler, right? Well, I've already scared you on all the risks. I think one thing that I see a lot, that's number 9, is a really good point. It says get a good CRM. Does anybody know what CRM is?
Customer relations
software. And stay organized. It's fun in the beginning, and you may have a spreadsheet, but then when you're dealing with thousands of transactions, from buying knobs to doors to calling 5 different vendors, Fox Lumber to Lowe's to Home Depot, because Home Depot has cheaper tile than Lowe's does, it becomes a nightmare. Okay, so you've got to stay organized. Anybody recommend a specific software that they use? QuickBooks, Quicken.
We use QuickBooks.
Builder's Trend.
Builder's Trend. Okay. Is that just .com or Google up Builder's Trend?
Google it. No, we used it for when we were flipping houses.
I still use my same property management software, Buildium, when I do remodels and stuff. Just keeping track of transactions. And a rule of thumb, you guys know this, is just repeat it. Always on the receipt, write on the receipt where the house was for and what's going on. It just makes your life easier later for great bookkeepers / CPAs. Okay, obviously plan. You got, do your due diligence. There's many times where I've trusted a realtor. This is the best neighborhood. It's on the upswing. Flippers on TV, look for up and coming neighborhoods. You really need to know, again, all my success has always been by accident. I don't even today I feel like it's by accident, but I was buying property in certain areas and no one else was buying property. I had no idea that it would double or triple what it is now. The returns that I'm receiving now, I would have bought 10 times more of what I would have bought back then. Okay, but don't just rely on someone saying that to you. I would never budget a deal based on what's going to happen. I want to budget on what's going on right now, and if I need to fire sale it. That's why I always add the 20% in there. Interesting thing, not all hard money is the same. Just like any banking institution, some people charge 12, 14, 16%. And you'd be surprised, a lot of other people in this room are hard money lenders. There's a difference between private money and hard money, right? We all know that. Does everybody know the difference between, anybody want me to explain that? Okay, so, but you'd be surprised, there's a lot of hard money, just random people that are usually real estate investors because they understand. I failed in this many times. Get the house inspected. Just do it. How much does it cost for an inspection? Who? Too high. 250, 200, 150. Who do you use for 150? Do you use somebody? Who do you use for 150?
I've used them before, but I won't use them again.
Well, there you go. It should be 250, roughly 200, 250. Anything below that, and you want to make sure when you interview. I should do a podcast on this. When you interview an inspection person, do your due diligence on them. Do they have a scope? Are they going to do the sewer line? Do they have a moisture reader? Do they have an infrared reader? Those are the questions I ask. Do you have infrared? Do you have a moisture meter? Do you have a scope for the drain line? And how much extra is it for the drain line? Okay. Now you can probably negotiate. That's a $400 one, but make sure you know what's going on. When you buy a property, look in the sewer line. Most of all my failures have been sewer line collapsing. Okay. Okay, this is a tip that I found online. It said list your property slightly under value. I don't know.
Steven, real quick, back on that inspector, can they do that when you're getting that initial inspection? Like go through look at the drain line and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Or do you have to have special
Permission?
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Well, inspection is inspection. You pretty much can do whatever you want to do on the property.
Okay.
But you should. Like, I can give you 1,000 stories of where I felt like I looked at the roof, it looks legit, looks fine to me, and then I didn't go in the attic and it was a slat roof, which I had to be completely redecked and it had 3 layers on it, and I didn't even notice that. So I budgeted like $3,000 for that roof. It was an $8,000 roof. So your inspector should, a good inspector should take pictures of that for you. I'm too emotional. Is anybody else emotional? I'm gonna be rich. That tends to blind people. Called greed, money. I would hire a third-party person that you don't know, that doesn't know you, and have him or her go out there and do it. And you should definitely do it on any deal you do, at least the first 10 deals. If you're buying property in general. If I was working with you, coaching you, I've just changed over the years. It's just worth that money. It's easy. It's like buying title insurance. You should just buy title insurance. Okay? All right. This is interesting, number 17. It says work with a realtor who knows the local market. I'm telling you, this is something that I've learned over the years, especially when I flipped that house in Mustang. Now, I had a bunch of realtor friends. I still have 1 or 2 left. But my first inclination was, okay, a Mustang, I'm done driving 30 minutes. That was my first problem. Like, rehabbing a house outside of my little zone was like, wow, I need to add this in my budget. like I didn't, think I like audiobooks, because I was like, man, this is a 30-minute drive there, 30-minute back. I mean, I'm not making enough money on this deal. But when I selected the realtor, I asked the realtor, where do you live? And are you able to show this thing quickly? And this individual that I hired lived in Yukon at the time. So I learned over here in Crown Heights and Mesa Park, there's only 2 or 3 really good realtors that know that area. And I realized through the years, those people know people that are buying in that area. So if you really had a house that you were going to flip in Mesa Park, I probably wouldn't use this realtor that knows Yukon. And I noticed that there's little pockets everywhere. There's village realtors that mine in the village. Edgemere, there's realtors that mine in Edgemere. Okay? So really, and when it says on number 17, work with a realtor who knows the local market. People get confused with the word local. I'm talking about drill it down even tighter. Like Moore. Like Moore's numbers are way different than the numbers in Oklahoma City. And so find out. Another thing you can do, and here's a trick on how to hire a realtor. Find out how many transactions they did. And how do you find that out? It's not easy, but you can. You can, I don't trust Zillow, but you can ask another, if you have a friend that's a realtor, they can log into the MLS and they can pull their name and they can see how many I know it's going to be awkward.
Yeah.
It's going to be awkward, but it could be done. Okay? So find out if that realtor is really doing that many transactions. Because realtors say a lot of good stuff and they're trained really well, but do they have experience in Mesa Park? Or the problem that I'm having, I use a residential realtor to sell an apartment building, right? That's a dumb mistake.
RE/MAX realtors are, if they pay for their desk space, are often high producers.
Yeah.
If they're paying for their desk space, if they're not paying
That's a
for their
good
desk
tip.
space, they're nobody.
All right, Pat. Your man card just went up 1 dot. So if they're paying for, they're serious about it, right? I think any realtor that's a realtor's license that's active that pays $2,000 something a year is, I don't know, either dumb or something. All right, number 18. Don't fall. This is a business, and I'm trying to work on a podcast on this. Like a business, I know with this government and this culture that we have going on, disciplining businesses. I don't want to get into the politics. I'm trying not to. But you got to keep in mind, this is a business. You are an investor. You have to make money. You're doing this not for fun. Okay? So you have children to feed. You have $10 to pay. to come here and get beat up. Okay? Don't fall in love with the property. Number 20, I wish I would have, you can't do this alone. And get diligent about keeping track of your friends. Okay, get people's cars, get Ben's car, get everybody in this building. We'll have some time here. Oh, we're running out of time. We're gonna stop here.
Keep going.
Okay, but make sure you get everybody's phone number. Young man was new to the game. What's your name? Demetrius. Yeah. Man, get everybody's phone number. Get my phone number. Just meet me. Yeah. If you don't irritate me, I'll hook you up. If you ask me a question, don't ask me like, "Hey man, how do you buy a house?" Come on, you can Google that up. If you can Google it up, I'll be juiced. Because as soon as you're talking to me, I'm gonna Google it up for you. Man, how you do that? I was teaching somebody the other day what's a favicon. Anybody know what a favicon is? Well, a favicon is that thing right here on your browser. There's a little icon up there, right? Before you ask somebody what a favicon is, Google it up. And if you can't find the answer, then call me. And then I'll point you to the attorney. 21. There's my 20%. Leave room for unexpected cost. Don't over-improve the property. Don't under-improve it either. Okay? That's where I failed so many times. I'm like, man, I can get this $3 light fixture here. But man, you put in a $150 light fixture, it will sell the property. Would you agree with that? Do you guys know a guy named Nathan Cow? Mm-hmm. Guess how much he pays for his chandeliers? No? You don't know? He spends like $300 on a chandelier. Wow. But does he sell his properties? And you know what his average profit is? 30 and above. Okay? But sometimes it takes money to make money, they say. Yeah, whatever. Map out your profit margin. We just talked, that's the first thing. Remember, this guy says, focus on paint, hardware, and lighting. That's knobs you can find knobs at Amazon, mega cheap. Don't buy any knobs at Lowe's or Home Depot. Buy them on Amazon. Okay? But knobs do make a difference. They make it pop. And know the colors. Know the colors. Know what's working. Oh, we already talked about the last one. Any questions? Any comments? Anybody still going to flip a house?
Number 10 has been the thing. If there's any way you're going to get it done on time and on budget, planning that out and staging it. Andrea has this what do you call your system for doing that? How you set it up? Like, what are you going to do? Like a system for when you're going to flip a house. What are you going to do? What's the first thing you're going to do once you close on it? Mm-hmm. And then
you go from the roof down.
And you're going to get the dumpster there. You're going to get utilities. You're going to
demolitions first.
But windows seem to be like, if you're going to redo windows, you got to order them 2 weeks in advance, at least 2 weeks in advance. If you haven't done that, then you're going to be sitting there for 2 weeks.
Well, here's the house I just did. I just found out we're done with the house, but they didn't order the heat and air. Mm-hmm. I was like, who's going to go back in there and paint? Because do you think contractors are cleanly? They just cut holes in the wall. That's where we're going to put the filter, and it's off by 2 inches. Who's gonna scab that back in? Right? I can't wait to. I just lost probably $300-500 just because, and I was like, man, I ordered that AC back in May or June. I was like, hey, we're gonna go with this dude. Let's hire this guy. Why? That should be your mechanical roof, mechanical structure, windows, right out the gate, ASAP. Make sure the structural stuff you get done. Any other comments? Any tips for all you super successful people?
And that is, if you decide what size house you're going to do, and then standardize your colors. Like, for instance, I put a certain shingle on basically almost every house I do. It's the same shingle. Then if I have leftovers,
I bet it's Weatherwood.
Huh? Yeah, absolutely. Hell yeah. But the point is, I do the same thing on wall colors. If it's a house under $100,000, it gets the same color walls. It gets the same color woodwork. I mean, I don't buy something for one house and then buy something different for another one. Not in the price range I'm doing.
All right. Standardize. Any other questions? Okay, so next week, anybody have anything, next month, anybody have a subject? Because I'll tell you what we're trying to do. Anybody have an idea? Okay, next month, we're thinking about doing a hot seat. We'll put you up front, and then we just help you solve whatever problems you have. Does that sound good for next month? Cool? So if you feel like you need some help, be ready. You can email me in advance so I can get that ball rolling. And I went to several of these just recently, and And it's very powerful to learn from someone else's successes and failures. So that's what we're going to talk about next month. It's called the hot seat. Okay? Thanks for coming. Make sure you give everybody's number.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.